retired undercover San Diego County Sheriff's deputy, many people would be totally surprised to learn how drugs coming into the U.S. from Mexico actually get here. Now, in telling this story, we begin with a movie you may have recently seen.
Need help, sir?
Officer, hi.
In the movie The Mule, Clint Eastwood plays the role of Earl Stone, who at the age of 90 takes a job as a super high-paying drug courier for a Mexican drug cartel, a job referred to as a mule.
But the fact is, there are other types of drug mules, as in blind mules, people who, unbeknownst to them, are used by the drug cartels to transport drugs across the border. People who don't have a clue, their cars are loaded up with drugs headed straight for the U.S.
Retired San Diego County Sheriff's Deputy Rudy Zamora spent much of his 30-plus years in law enforcement in the undercover world. Based on his experience, he says as much as 40% of drugs coming into the U.S. from Mexico are transported by blind mules.
It's a new way for drug traffickers in the U.S.-Mexico border to trick people to bring drugs across the border without their knowledge.
How do the cartels benefit from these blind mules versus another way of getting the drugs here?
It's dramatic. It's dramatic because these individuals, number one, they're bringing the drugs without their knowledge, so they're not nervous when they approach the border. That's the big thing. They are acting normal, their everyday life. They have a routine. They cross on a regular basis, most of them on a daily basis. They're coming to work, they're coming for school. Whatever happens to be their regular routine, that's why they are selected. So therefore, they don't get paid, number one. And number two, it's a safe way to get the drugs across without risking anything. I mean, they risk the drugs themselves because there's times that they lose them.
How do the drug dealers then recover the drugs? I mean, how do they, logistically, how do they get the drugs from the blind mule?
In Mexico, there's something called halcones, falcons. And those people's job is to, A, identify the individual, and B, follow and get the routine. So now they know where they live, they know where they park, they know more or less when they cross the border, and once across, they know where they're going to go to work. Usually a large...
It sounds like a military operation almost.
It is a whole industry.
Now, Zamora's reason for entering law enforcement is interesting to say the least. As a teenager in Mexico, he immediately wanted to become a police officer after watching the movie Serpico, the film starring Al Pacino about a New York City cop who helped root out police corruption in the NYPD.